name's Naomi Farrelly, and it's my pleasure to present this next session in our Small Business Big Impact program. Today we're joined by Tricia Martin, who's going to be presenting a session on how digital tech can solve small business issues. As this is a pre-recorded session, Trish will be available to answer questions throughout the session using the chat function at the bottom of the screen. There's no need to wait until the end of the session. This recording will also be made available on the platform for another 3 months if you wish to share it with clients and colleagues who weren't able to join us today. This session is proudly sponsored by Spark CoWork.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Digitech Day of Port Stephens Small Business Big Impact Expo. I'm super stoked to be chatting with you. But before we get started today, please make sure that you've got a coffee in hand, you've got your feet up, ready to go. And I just want to start by addressing the big Digitech elephant in the room, which is the fact that technology can be frustrating, infuriating, and let's face it, it can absolutely suck. I mean, even on the way here this morning, technology made me so frustrated. The first was I was trying to text a client and my phone auto-corrected to complete gibberish. And the second time I was trying to take a call while I was driving and my phone kept on connecting, disconnecting. And I'm sure if we just take a few moments to begin with, there has been times in the last year, in the last month, in the last week, in the last day, in the last hour that technology has frustrated us. Whether it's, a Zoom call not working, or you putting yourself on mute and then not being able to get off it, or just your computer not turning on. But I just want to start off by saying that you are not alone in this. Even if you think about, the tech giants of the world, Apple, the co-founders of Apple were actually quoted by saying that you should never trust a computer that you cannot throw at a wall. So we can understand that technology can be completely frustrating, and particularly in this sort of climate, in a sort of pandemic or non-pandemic climate, there's so much pressure on small business to be doing all these innovative, fancy things with tech. The reality is that at the end of the day, it can be super frustrating to even engage with technology. You've got so much on your plate already. Feeling like you have to extend your services with an app or do a fancy website can just feel like an add-on that you don't need, or let's face it, want. So today I really want to emphasize the importance that, number one, technology was invented by humans for humans. I'll just say it again. Technology was created by humans for humans. So at the end of the day, if the technology that you're using or the digitech that you're using isn't usable by humans, isn't easy for you, and isn't making your life easier, it's not doing its job properly. So today I want to jump into two simple strategies that you can start to implement in your business that is low cost, really easy, and really effective to do. But before I get into it, I just want to sort of paint the landscape of why technology doesn't work sometimes. And I really want to highlight two tech fails, which I think are absolutely hilarious and really emphasize when tech hasn't worked for the people that it serves, humans. So the first is based in Hawaii. I want you to imagine beautiful islands, beaches, clear crystal waters, seeing that we can't escape Australia at the moment for a holiday. And in Hawaii in 2018, a local business, tourism business, was contracted to sort of innovate the tourism space in Hawaii by providing information to tourists and also local residents about what was happening in Hawaii. One of their ideas was to engage, this really innovative technology that sent automatic SMS services to local residents and tourists about local weather conditions, surf, tides, all that sort of jazz. However, when they were using the technology, the person who designed the technology that they engage with had set a default text message when they're using the first text messages practice to see if the service works. The first text message was set up as ballistic missile approaching, end of the world imminent. So the first text message that was sent out to residents and tourism in Hawaii said that a ballistic missile was approaching. Obviously, this caused mass panic. And what was worse is that follow-up text message that said, this was just a test, was sent an hour later. Obviously, this caused way more harm than good to this business. And this is an example of technology not being usable by humans and not being designed for humans, and therefore it was not effective. The second example, a little more close to home, is a local business that I've come across recently that in their physical store is really, really popular. They sell fashion items, however, they've launched an eco-sustainable fashion range as well, which has really taken off with their customer base. And obviously in a COVID climate, they decided to extend their business online to reach more customers and create a bigger community. And they decided that as part of it, they'll also launch their eco range online on their website. Now, when they were building their website, they engaged a web designer. It's a beautiful, fancy, innovative looking website. But when the data started coming through about sales, they noticed that a lot of the eco range wasn't selling at all. So what they did immediately was, okay, well, the issue is that we're not marketing enough. We have to do all these social media strategies, all these buzzwords, make an innovative app, SEO, all that sort of stuff. When it came down to it, if you looked a bit more closely through the website, when we went to the eco range of the website, eco fashion was identified by the brand with a little icon, which is an icon of a leaf. And that makes sense, right? Eco fashion, leaf, yeah, we get it, sustainable. However, the color of this icon was red. Now, just take a few minutes. When you see the color red, or even if I say red, I just want you to think about what sort of thoughts come to your mind. Usually when we see red, it's usually a warning, stop, stay away. It's definitely not ideas of eco, sustainability, or green. So what was happening here is that it wasn't because the technology wasn't fancy enough or innovative enough. It was just simply a case of not actually understanding how humans work. The fact that humans react to different colors in different ways, and the actual line would be way more effective if the icon was green and customers could identify immediately and really fast that the fashion range was sustainable through coloring, through simple changes in the design of the website. So a lot of time, what I want to jump in today is two things. A lot of time when we're dealing with tech and small business, we get caught up in what I like to call digital noise. We get overwhelmed. We can sometimes feel like we're drowning and not trying to keep up to date with all these, new algorithms and buzzwords that are popping up every single day, which is easily avoidable if we keep it simple and we keep humans and our customers and the people that we interact with every day at the forefront. The second thing I want to go into, which is a common issue, not only for small business, but, billion, trillion dollar companies, is the fact that a lot of the time we're trying to solve the wrong problem. I'll just repeat that. We're trying to solve the wrong problem. And I'll add on to that, a lot of the time people just unknowingly use tech, those sort of solutions as a quick band-aid solution to a problem that can be solved in a different way and a more effective way. So I really want to go into some strategies today by giving you some really tangible case studies of this being implemented in real life, and not just telling you, but actually showing you. I'm also going to provide you with sort of a hack cheat sheet of what I've been talking about today, with some apps and some free services that I'm going to reference, which you can access on the Small Business Big Impact Expo at the end of this chat that we're having. So please, coffee in hand. Before we jump into this sort of strategy, I want to give you some background of where I'm coming from the tech world. So I am founder of Virtual Intern, which is a local hunter-based online platform. And basically what we do is connect hunter students, secondary students, with local industries. And we do that by providing high school students with virtual internships or work placements. They jump online to our platform. They complete project-based tasks from a range of industries. We have agriculture all the way to graphic design, hospitality, and retail, where they can build skills. They can submit work to employers, get feedback from employers, and actually after the placement can immediately upload their certification to their CV and actually receive a lot of physical work placements and physical work opportunities following this placement. I just want to emphasize here that when we were developing Virtual Intern, my team and myself were developing Virtual Intern, we did not think for one second that because it's 2020 that we just have to make it tech. That wasn't our first question. Our first question was, what do young people need and what is most usable and convenient to young people? When we think of teenagers today, Gen Z, very much grew up in a digital age, very comfortable with the digital world. However, when we think of regional students in regional areas, accessibility, work experience can be really, really difficult. Long distances to drive, remoteness, and even something as simple as a pandemic coming your way in 2020 can prevent work experience from even occurring. So for us, it made sense for us to build a website, an online platform, because number one, it was usable, it ticked that box for young people, it was engaging to young people, and it made both people's lives easier. It made students' lives easier because they didn't have to travel long distances and they could have a broader awareness of different industries at literally their fingertips on their tablet, phone, or computer. And on the other side with local industry, we know it's small business, that it's really hard to have a work experience person on sometime to find roles for them. So to develop in collaboration with our team, a simple bite-sized work experience package that can be online and replicated again and again and again, and can be accessed by heaps of students rather than one, that's a really effective, easy impact and win that we can provide to small businesses. So I just want to emphasize here, all of what we do with tech is keeping the user at the forefront, keeping it simple, keeping it usable, and keeping it human. That's what we want. So the first thing I want to jump into today is, number one, finding the digital white space. What I mean by that is, as I mentioned before, small business can feel really pressured, particularly in a COVID climate, and all these announcements are coming out every day to adapt, pivot, innovate, insert another buzzword here, with technology. And technology is thrown out as the go-to solution to fix business in 2020 and also in the future. But let's take an example like Zoom, for example. Zoom is never going to replace human interaction. It makes us frustrated. It makes us want to throw our computer at a wall sometimes, but it will never replace, sitting down with a coffee with someone and having a chat to them. So we need to look for options of technology to enhance and amplify human interaction and connection in really simple ways that keeps the human at the forefront. Now, a really simple way of doing this is using tech to differentiate yourself and actually allow yourself to connect to customers more effectively. And I want to give you a few examples of this happening really, really well in really a low cost and simple way. The first instance that I came across of this was two companies. One was PR and one was a trades company. And how they normally operated was, before getting a client on board, they'd have a consult or a walkthrough with the client, and usually give them some time to think about if they wanted to engage with the service, and then you usually send a personalized follow-up automated email. And that is personalized. It's an email, it has a personal name on it, how you're going, everyday sort of language. However, both of these companies use tech in a way that allowed them to communicate to their customer that we actually care about you, not just another number to us. And I think that's really effective, because when we think of technology, we think of disconnection, we think of almost this clinicalness to relationships. So what both of these businesses did was engage a simple app. So this app, I think, is called a Tricia. I'll put it in the resources at the end of this talk. But basically what it allows you to do is it allows you to shout a coffee for your potential client. So what these businesses were doing after their chat, they'd send an email, text message, whatever medium was most effective for the customer, and saying, hey, great chatting with you. Look, here's a coffee. I'm going to shout you a coffee for you to mull it over and get back to me if you're interested. Enjoy this coffee. And it was just a simple QR code that people could download the app on their phone, show their local cafe, and then get a free coffee. And this is a really effective way because shouting a coffee and having a chat with someone is so human. It's such a relationship building tool, but particularly in a COVID climate, or, just because we're time bound as small business owners and can't have coffee with all our clients, this was a really beautiful gesture that was aided through technology. So these simple touches are really effective. We see it a lot also in the accommodation industry. So with the rise of Airbnb and also holiday accommodation, particularly in the Port Stephens area, there's been some beautiful examples of technology, simple technological interventions working really, really effectively. So an example of that I really want to give you here is a local Airbnb that I came across in the Port Stephens, Newcastle region. Before people come into their holiday accommodation, they actually just simply take a photo of the view from their accommodation a few hours before customers or clients or holiday makers arrive, and a simple text message or a simple email with the heading, this is the view that you're about to see, is a beautiful way to connect to their potential holiday makers, and a really simple gesture, which is fast, simple, and actually free to implement, that immediately is appreciated by the customer. Other examples that I've come across is prior to visiting holiday accommodation, taking the time to actually ask the customer, why they're visiting the area, what's the purpose of their visit, beyond, simple Google forms of name, address, birth date, how many people, actually taking the time to listen about your customers and capturing that information and then using in a way that allows you to build a relationship with them. So an example of this happening was the time that I went to an Airbnb down in Victoria, and I had to fill in a digital form beforehand, usually the usual questions, but the last question was, what brings you to this beautiful part of the world? And, that sort of question was really different to what I normally see on a form. It was eye-catching, so I'm going to dedicate more time to it because I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I want to answer it. And my answer was that I want to do a lot of, nature hikes and walks in this area. When I arrived at the Airbnb, there was a simple, QR code. It could have been something as simple as a website link if they wanted to, where I could just scan my phone and a simple pop-up came up on my screen. And this can easily be created through services like MailChimp, through landing pages, which I'll also add into the resource for you. But once I clicked on, the button of here's a free gift for you, the business that I was staying with, the Airbnb, had just provided a simple PDF of all the local hiking tracks and local spots in the area to check out. And I'm sure that they already had that PDF on hand, but it felt like a really simple, personalized thought and gift for me that was aimed through technology. All the services that they use to create that gift, the QR code, the pop-up, the landing page, the PDF, can be created through free online services like Canva and MailChimp, which I'll provide again in the resources. But it doesn't have to be this costly solution. If we've just got the human at the forefront and actually listen to them first, really, really effective in building our audience and our relationships. Another suggestion that I want to go into quickly is, besides finding the digital white space and finding moments where we can connect to customers and say that we care through technology, the other issue that I see all the time is solving the wrong problems. A lot of the time, like the example I gave before of the eco fashion store, throwing all this money at a really expensive website when the issue was a colour, is the fact that we can lose a lot of money trying to make technology fancy and innovative when that's not the actual issue. We need to listen to our customers foremost. When we started Virtual Intern, we could have easily engaged, a very fancy web designer to make this really flashy platform. But what we did first was get a few teenagers around the area. We're like, hey, we're going to shout you, a gift card, just chill out. And we just want you to test out this website and try and break it. Like, try and mess it up and do what you want with it and let us know your thoughts. This was so more effective than any sort of web designer or technology, tech whiz could have done, because we got simple, fast feedback. Even something as simple as, this color was hard to see. Fantastic, quick change that was no cost to us. Other feedback included, hey, do you reckon we could make this video a bit shorter? It was like a bit long. Again, a really low cost way to pivot to our customer and make sure that it was usable by the people that we created it for. I know that a lot of local event companies lately, one in particular, actually dedicates 1 to 2 hours each week out of their workday to actually call around to customers who are really engaging with their product and just have a Zoom call and a chat and say, hey, like, was this easy for you? And really get live feedback and user testing. And this is a way cheaper option to think about what technology options suit your customers that at the end of the day are going to be more effective. There is no point setting up, Instagram and social media if all your customer base prefers to be contacted by text message or email. Actually sitting down and asking your customers and capturing that information. Again, keeping that human interaction at the front of tech is 1,000 times more effective. The last thing I just want to touch on here is when we're thinking about tech and keeping it human at the front, a really simple intervention when we're talking about solving the right problems is the elevator problem. I just want to throw it out there for you. So I want you to imagine that you're a landlord of a stack of units and there's an elevator, and there's a lot of people who are complaining about how slow the elevator is. I want you to take 30 seconds to think about how you're going to solve the problem. People complaining about a slow elevator, how are you going to solve the issue? I'll give you a few moments. See, the issue here is that a lot of people jump to the conclusion that we need to make a faster elevator. We need to get a more high-tech elevator in, which of course is a really costly solution. But what we need to do is reframe the problem. And in small business, a lot of time, reframing the problem is really, really effective. This was a major issue for many businesses with elevator issues. A lot of complaints coming in about elevators being slow when they weren't actually that slow when it came down to it. But again, a lot of complaints. What they did was reframe the problem. Okay, instead of focusing on the elevator, let's focus on the human. What they did was put mirrors around the lobbies, hand sanitizer, music playing. And if there's one thing that's effective with humans, humans love seeing their own image in a mirror. And when you see yourself in a mirror, you lose track of time. So the problem was reframed to put mirrors in, and then the complaints steeply and gradually stopped. And this is a really good analogy for small business and tech, because it's not just about solving, the issue just with throwing tech with the answer. It's actually taking the time to listen to our customers, know their behavior, and go from there. If you've got a website where your main purpose is to sell your products that you sell in your physical store, fantastic. Use your website. As soon as they jump on their website, they see your products there. If you get caught up in, fancy blogs and video content and AR apps and all this fancy stuff because you see what else is happening there and get caught in that digital noise, it's not going to be effective, it's not going to be useful, and it's not going to suit the behavior of your customer that you know so well. So the two things that I really want you to take away is, number one, keep it simple, okay? Keep human at the forefront. One actionable thing that you can do today is contact 3 of your closest customers or your most loyal customers. Shout them a virtual copy and allow them to have a chat about, what's working, what's not. Have that honest conversation to capture that feedback really, really fast, rather than going to a really expensive web tech solution that might give you a platform or a solution that doesn't work for you. The second thing is to cut through the digital noise. Think about instances where you can build human connection that can be aided through technology. Maybe sending an email message to your customer following a consult or following their visit to your store or to your business saying, hey, thank you so much. I'd love to shout you a virtual coffee, or here's, a free PDF with, top local spots in the area, like I explained before. Just thinking about what connects humans, what do humans appreciate, and how can I make that easy access for them through technology. The third thing is it doesn't have to be expensive. Services like Canva, MailChimp, SurveyMonkey, Google Forms are really effective and low cost and cheap all of the time, and is usable by your customer. It will allow you to connect and communicate in a really easy way. I am so stoked to have chatted with you today. I hope you've gotten through your coffee. I sure haven't got through mine, so I'm going to get onto that now. Any questions, please contact me anytime at tricia@shecan.com.au. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Trish, for that great session. We really appreciate your time to help to contribute to the growth of small business in Port Stephens. Trish will be available to answer any further questions you might have over in the meeting hub. Just pop over there and you can catch up at a time that is convenient to you. We'll see you soon in the next session. Thank you.